Good morning and welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. I'm here with Sabrina Castillo, Director of Partnership and Outreach for New York City Campaign Finance Board. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Bob. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. Staying home and just following all the social distance rules. So doing well. How are you doing?
All dressed up and nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough thing to stay home, and people, they look forward to trying to stay home and take care of some of the things that they couldn't take care of while they were running around working. But we had to move the elections back. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had to move the elections back. First and foremost, we wanted to make sure that we really understood how to keep people safe. And we knew that as the pandemic really started to take over the city, that was something we were not going to be able to do if we had elections. So the first thing we did is the elections that were going to happen in April and the special elections that were happening before that were moved to June 23rd. This giving us the time to really be able to prepare around elections, not just from an operational standpoint, vote and how is it that people really want to make sure that they're able to participate, but how are we going to give people all the right information that they need to do that during this time?
So what do people need to do? How do they go to get that information on the issues and all the other things that they need to make that point to exercise their right to vote?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things that people need to do. The first thing people need to do is understand how the elections are going to happen. So they're going to happen in June. And the first change that came out right after changing the dates was the fact that every person who is registered and eligible to vote will be able to vote via absentee. This means that people will be able to vote by mail. So there is a process, though. It is a two-step process for people to be able to do that. And there are some challenges that we're still trying to manage through, organize around. And so I'll walk you through those. But the two-step process is that people have to request the application and fill it out. You're not applying for anything. You're automatically able to do so. And you're going to put temporary illness as you send that in. And then,
so how do you request that?
So you go to voting.nyc.
Okay.
And you click on how to vote. When you click on how to vote, it's going to take you to the areas on where you have to download the form. Bob, I have to be really honest. This is where some of those challenges are going to come in. People need to print it, and you need a printer, and there's people who don't have printers. So we're working to see specifically.
Wait a minute. I have a printer.
Okay.
It's down right about now. So that's a problem.
That's a problem. We are optimistic and hopeful that the Board of Elections is going to come up with a digital version of this. But for now, if you do have a printer, I wouldn't wait until those changes come down. I would request
get it done now.
The application now on voting.nyc and make sure that you have that. And then you'll receive a ballot before the election, and then you'll mail that in, and that'll be your vote. And so this is a new process for people. They're really trying to make sure that you have all of that. So like I said, there's still some more changes that are going to come down. One of them potentially being able to do this digitally via email or fax. But those are not in place right now. It doesn't mean they won't happen, and we're hopeful and optimistic that they will happen because it's something that they're actively working on doing.
And you think by June they'll have the physical apparatus in place where people can, if they let us come out, we can come out and vote the old-fashioned way?
That is still something that they're working on. For now, people will be able to. There will be poll sites open, and I'm sure there will be requirements and ways to be able to keep people safe.
So
that is at the forefront of the city, making sure that everyone is safe and still being able to practice. We do have early voting, so there will be more opportunity for people to be able to practice social distancing while voting. So that was something that came into place last year. And was the first time that we did that. And it was something that now is really going to come in and help us because we have 10 days to be able to cast a vote. And so with the right operations in place, that is something that will be an option for people.
How about absentee voting?
So absentee voting right now, before you needed an excuse. So before the pandemic, you could only vote via an excuse.
Right.
Now, everyone who's registered to vote and is eligible to vote, so you have to be 18 years old, a citizen. You have to be 18 by the
November.
Or by the election. So if you're voting in June, you need to be 18 by the election in June.
Yeah.
You need to be registered to vote, and then you'll be able to request this application. Everyone will be able to vote via absentee, which is vote by mail. So you will have the opportunity to click on their temporary illness, and that is what Governor Cuomo came out with late last week, of introducing this method to making sure that people are able to stay safe. So right now, everyone can just do this if they feel like this is the safest way for their families to be able to participate. One of the things that we're realizing is that areas that have low voter participation are also some of the areas that are being hit the hardest during this pandemic. And so it is important for everyone to really take ownership of this power that we all have if you are eligible to vote.
Yeah, makes you say, what's going on here?
Exactly.
How are we getting the word out other than
there are some. How we're getting the word out is, one, there's a couple of things that we're doing at the agency. We're trying to make sure that we're still doing everything that we can to be able to do information via email and social media and text messaging. However, one of the ways that we used to be able to really get the word out was through field organizing, right? We used to go and knock on people's doors. We're not able to do that right now. So we will be launching digital grassroots campaigns where we'll be texting people, we'll be asking people to pledge to vote, we'll be sending reminders. We want to make sure that we create all the platforms for people to receive this information, as easy and as efficiently as possible.
Seems like this is information overload. We're dealing with this COVID virus pandemic, and we're dealing with census, and we're dealing with all these other things, healthcare, and now we have to get out there and vote. So it seems like there's a huge mix of a smorgasbord of things that people need to do, but they have to put it in line and do it and get it done because it's all important.
Yeah, I think when you name all the things, like I have to fill out the census, I have to register to vote, I have to vote, and then I have to make sure that I'm doing everything, it sounds overloading. But if you just follow the steps, for example, the census, I recently took the census a few weeks ago, and it literally took me less than 10 minutes. So I think if we really organize it, do a to-do list, pick a day of the week where you do your civic action.
Prioritize and just get it done.
Yeah, pick Tuesdays for you to be able to do all your civic duties. Make sure that you fill out your census and that you're registered to vote. If you want to register to vote, you can go to voting.nyc and get the form there. Unfortunately, we do not have online voter registration in New York. You're only able to register online if you have a DMV ID and a customer login, which we all know most people in New York don't. And so we do have a student of ours who's a leader, and she's launched a petition for government state leaders to be able to implement online voter registration, because right now that is also another challenge. And so what we're really working on is, if you're a leader, if you're able to really organize within your neighbors, if you're able to send text messages to your friends and make phone calls, right now we're going to have to rely on each other to get these messages out, because we're not going to be walking down and seeing the billboards on the subways and the streets and all the ways that we're accustomed to receiving information.
Hey, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for all that great information that you just gave us just now.
Thank you so much. Just any questions, voting.nyc.
Voting.nyc.
And just pick one day a week to do your civic duty, and we'll get there together.
Say it again, voting.nyc.
Voting.nyc.
Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank you,
Sabrina Castillo, Director of Partnership and Outreach from the New York City Campaign Finance Board. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.